an ongoing thing in the, I started my portfolio at college and I've added to it through the different jobs that I've done during the year. So ongoing, I'd say it's going now 10 years.
Well, I guess I've spent 15 years, I suppose, putting together the work in the portfolio, but my current portfolio, I probably actually only put, I don't know, about 4 hours actual production into accumulating that work, but I've a lot of work to choose from over the years.
So I take the best of some of the stuff maybe that I have at college, just interesting, quirky, projects that you don't get to do when you get paid for, and then add to it now the professional ones that I've gotten.
I didn't, no. I did a show reel while I was in college, but it's progressed so much at this stage I don't have anything left from college on it, because it needs to be changed every time I do something.
So I'd love to go back and change some of that stuff, but it's there in my portfolio.
Oh, it was useful at the start, because you can't really just walk out of college and go, give me a job please, and they go, what have you done? You go, oh, I went to college.
While I was still in college, I did... I basically held a job and worked my course at the same time.
Well, they've employed me because he saw something I did in college. So.
One thing I would say though, a lot of the content I did during college, I'm not too proud of because of deadlines, working multiple projects at once.
Like any portfolio, the older stuff drifts out over time.
Very thoroughly. On a whole, on initial application to a job, you're usually asked if you have a portfolio, and they scan your CV, and then going in for the interview, you'll bring your portfolio along. There can be a team of 2 people, there can be 1 person, there can be 5 people, which I've had to present to a couple of times, and they'll flick through it and they'll pause and stuff that they find suitable to them, stuff that they see appealing, and they'll ask you questions on it. So it's not something that's just scanned through, it is looked at in detail.
In fairness, in general, most people that have viewed the work, but I've always tailored it to a specific job interview. I don't tend to, as I said, I've generally been approached rather than kind of gone job hunting as such. So for example, in this particular, in the role I'm in at the moment, I knew I was coming in for it, so I tailored a specific portfolio for it.
To me, a good portfolio shows the range. You can tailor your portfolio for specific jobs, but you still always need to show what you're capable of.
Real world experience is really what makes a difference. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's that they have actually done websites for actual companies that you can't link them to, as in it's not their dad's company or something like that, or they've worked on sets.
For instance, if I'm doing a graphic design portfolio, I want to show that I've worked for corporate clients, I've worked for government agencies, I've worked for small businesses.
Because I wouldn't have the time generally to go through, a massive amount of stuff, but enough to be able to show me, I suppose, neatly organised and all the rest,
I'll always look for a strong original work. I don't like to see too much work that's I guess overly conservative or necessarily exactly appropriate to the position that somebody's applying for.
Showing a wide variety. Now that would be if I was approaching a graphic design company. If I'm approaching an in-house design job, it would be tailored to corporate stuff where you're given strict guidelines that you have to come under.
Yeah, I think experience is just the number one thing you need to have.
I think the more that it shows in terms of the candidate scope, the better.
You tailored the portfolio for the specific job.
I tend to like to see some originality, some strong visual polish, basically, I'll go by the work,
No set time, I'd say. I keep my portfolio updated. As I said, it's an ongoing thing. So when I have good jobs that I'm proud of, they'll get updated. You know, if it's a website, screenshots are taken, links are put in. If it's you know, something like, you know, a development plan, which was a really big job for us for the county council, sort of would have flickable PDFs, you know, flash files of brochures, and put that through. If they can't physically, if you can't post this to them, you can send them a link on a website. So for us, like that's just been done recently, so I'll stick that in now because it was a good job. So, you know, every couple of weeks I'm spending an hour or so updating the portfolio just to make sure that it has everything that you need to see at a moment's notice. If somebody says to me, show me your portfolio, I can say, yeah, and it's current. There's stuff in it from 2009, 2010. So that's the sort of thing. Online is handy for us because we can flick through them while we're just on the computer. If you're reading the email and there's a link, great. Now, sometimes that doesn't give you an idea of scale or quality of the work.
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to an interview, a lot of the time people won't actually have any physical portfolio on them at all these days. You literally just walk in, interview the person, they'll give you their URL, or you'll have their URL from beforehand, and they'll literally just talk you through their portfolio website. I think the portfolio website is absolutely critical these days.
What I would say, definitely send it by the internet. I would go internet over. And the reason why is because it's all too easy for someone to go on my show. I get shows with like written on marker, and it goes round the thing with their email address and their contact details going. This just lacks if you're going to go down the DVD route, you have to spend money to get the DVDs printed, and you have to spend money to get like a nice presentation.
So if we're interviewing, we'll ask them to bring a printed portfolio, but if it's a case of we just want to see a taste of their work, and clickable stuff on the internet is fine.
To be honest, I would rarely interview somebody that doesn't send me online digital samples of their work beforehand.
If they're cheap to get it, like, buy a blog spot thing or something like that, design them kind of nice, especially if you're a media student. Design them kind of nice, throw your video or your YouTube on there, and then it looks nice, it's a good presentation. And I mean, I certainly understand that people don't have money to be throwing out like hundreds of pounds of DVDs, so I don't think twice. But if I get DVDs and the quality is ropey, that is it's like sending a CD, but like you've got everything, like, you know, it's all cap letters and changes colours. And
these days, when I advertise a position, obviously I've a huge network of designers that I can plug into. I'll sometimes put the word out through social networking sites, that kind of thing, through LinkedIn, through Twitter, all of those kind of things. So you get so many high caliber applications that honestly, if you can't kind of look at that person's work beforehand, it's difficult to justify giving them the time unless they have a very, very compelling CV.
I wouldn't put my show reel on a DVD because I don't have the money to make it look really nice.
The important thing is that it shows the correct selection of work that will enable me to be able to say, yeah, this person could be suited to this position.
I'm clicking on link is so much easier to take it out, go to the DVD player, plug it in. And
yeah, I mean, it's just handier. You sit down over a coffee, you crack on the thing, you watch it, job's good. If the presentation, it's much easier to get the presentation right. If you're going to do a hard copy, that's cool, but make certain that every part of it looks as professional as the actual content, which is going to be costly.
Your degree will always, again, will back up your portfolio as well, because you have to give yourself the best possible opportunity.
It would be the portfolio.
Honestly, I'd say a portfolio of work.
I would say a portfolio.
I think portfolio is definitely very useful to have, you know, because that's really what you're selling.
If those two people came along and one of them was coming from a community radio background and had all the experience but didn't have the qualification as compared to somebody who had the qualification and no experience, they said we would tend to lean towards someone who had the experience. because they can just basically walk and step straight into the job.
Now, we will look at your qualifications and degree, but sometimes a person who has a good knowledge of design, you know, they mightn't have actually hit that degree, they might have a diploma, but their quality of design, because they've been working in the industry more, would be higher. So you take everything on board when you're interviewing and when you're trying to hire for somebody.
But the true knowledge is gained from real experience.
I think what employers are looking for now is a combination of both.
A portfolio in this industry is the one that speaks to you the most, though. Some people would look at it and they'll have a list of criteria, and you know, for first round interviews they might have a minimum requirement of degree and bin all CVs less than that. You have to persevere with them. Some people will say, oh no, we'll just take a look and see what this person has. And if you've got a good working background, a good firm grasp of the industry, that'll stand to you more than an actual degree.
Every job I've gone on to, or every job I've been called for, they kind of went, well, who have you worked for and what job was that on, and that was it.
I mean, obviously you prefer both. You know, if it was a choice between one or the other, definitely the portfolio would come first, yeah.
You can have 1,000 degrees but still not be capable.
I mean, theory is well and good and it's great, and I suppose we all need it. I wouldn't mind getting some of that training even myself, you know, but yeah, hands-on and practical, it counts for an awful lot.
I mean, a degree is useful. The two aren't mutually exclusive. A degree is useful. The things you learn from any degree are like, you know, teamwork, hitting deadlines, that's useful.
Yeah.
And you'll build the portfolio of work over your years, but at the same time, not to belittle college, I do think it's actually a great experience and everyone should go, of course. But yeah, exactly. It lets you build up and meet these people and get onto projects. Like starting off, some of your first projects could be through college contacts, so it's great for contacts and what it teaches you. But at the same time, if instead of doing 4 years of college, if you went out and did 4 years of working in the industry, or like struggling to get jobs and just learning the stuff and honing your skills, you'll still end up with time management skills. You'll still probably end up with teamwork skills. You'll probably still end up with a portfolio of work. The two are kind of, you know, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other.
Yeah.
Really.
I don't really mind if they've studied design at all.
As long as they know that you're not mental.
Depending on the job, I mean, high marks in degrees and masters, they're good for specific jobs. If you want to go on to lecture, if you want to go on to masters, you need to have the high marks.
Whether it's a cert course, an MA, it's irrelevant if the work is strong enough.
If you're going to apply to like a place like this where you're a graphic designer, most of the time it'll be your portfolio, so it's not really like, if you've got the degree, it proves that you've finished the course, it proves that you've you've done all the deadlines, you've been in, you know, there's a certain quality to yourself, presenting yourself that, right, look, this is what I've come through, I've done this. Whereas the portfolio shows the quality and calibre of your work, and your taste as a designer. So, you know, it depends on the company. It could be looking for somebody real kooky, but if you've got a, you know, 1-1, yeah, that's not going to tell you what type of designer you are. Yeah.
I think it shows that you can work well with other people,
Yeah.
and that you're willing to work with other people.
I think group work is acceptable as long as you very explicitly state what your role in it was.
Definitely. An awful lot of the times you won't be working on your own. You'll have to liaise with sometimes a marketing department, PR consultancy group, board of directors.
But, you know, most people interviewing you will have enough experience, will know enough designers that they'll phone around, check out if the work is genuinely yours. Certainly working as a designer in Ireland, you won't get away with claiming authorship of material that isn't your own. One of my art directors was interviewing somebody not so long ago and came across some of their own work in that person's portfolio, which is just shocking. But you can't get away with that.
Very rarely are you actually on your own. You can do whatever you want with this project. Off you go. Which is majorly important when you're working in it.
The thing about individual work is I can spend 100 hours working on that till I get it perfect, but I'm not fighting about it to get it right, you know. Whereas group work, as you say, it's a lot of, there's always, not always, but especially in college, there's always the one person in your group is not doing the work and that kind of thing, and to be able to actually get the thing done and make it good and get it done in time, and you've got someone like that who's either not turning up and pulling their weight, or is no, what's the other thing? Actually actively fighting against, I don't like this project, I don't want to work with you guys or something like that. So it shows, if you can get stuff done under those kinds of conditions, it's much more useful than solo work.
But definitely to show people that you have the capability to work with other people, it's important, yeah.
Yes, as long as you outline your role within the group and your contributions to it.
The people that I've found that have gotten jobs out of the industry are the ones that don't take no for an answer, that are constantly, they treat getting a job as a job.
I get CVs all the time, I get letters, I get emails, people looking for work experience, internships, all that sort of stuff. And there's no follow-up phone call. There's just an email or a letter received and a package with a CV in it.
Get real email addresses.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about this last week. The amount of times you get emails from like fuzzymonkey@gmail.com or something stupid like that.
If at first you don't succeed, offer your services for free.
Start your own business. The government will give you money to do it. It's as hard or as easy as you want it to be once you find the right sector, and there's a lot of backup for it. You know, there are people out there willing to help you.
I will work for you part-time for 3 months, you know, just to prove that I have the hunger to get a job in this industry and to prove that I can do it.
It's just to come across very clearly and concise and enthusiastic. I think an awful lot of candidates maybe looking for jobs just nearly expect that their qualifications are enough, but it's not really. It's your personality, it's your enthusiasm for the industry, I think, that will really sell it to you, do you know? So I think that's really important.
But definitely, if you send a CV to a prospective employer, follow it up with, at the very least, a phone call. And if you don't get speaking to the right person, ring again and ring again and ring again. Leave a message, but ring again until you get talking to the right person. Because at that stage you'll be able to determine whether you're in with any prospect or not. Whereas if you just fire off a CV in the dark, you'll never know. You'll never know whether the CV was even opened and read or just tossed straight in the bin.
You should have, you know, whatever your name is, like david.mccabe@gmail.com or david.mccabe_media.media, whatever you can get, like, but don't have a stupid email address.
I'm going to push and see if I can make coffee in some place just to get my foot in the door. You know, if they need their bags held while they're doing something, I'll look after that. If it's standing because the light stand's not working, I'm standing with light. Just to be in the environment. The people who end up employable are the ones that don't approach a job with, I deserve this job. They push in. They're willing to work. They've got a good ethic about them. Like I've had friends at college that sent out 1 or 2 CVs at the beginning of the year. Oh, didn't hear anything back. Oh, I can't get a job. There's people then that might not have been as good a designer, but they stick at it. They follow up on things. You know, did you get that email? Do you need me to send anything else? You're probably not looking for anybody at the moment, but will you keep me in mind? But then follow that up in 3 months' time. Do you remember me? I was on the phone to you. I'm sorry to be annoying you, but is there anything now that's come up, even if it's just one project that you need help with? Do you need freelance? You know, constantly pushing. Do you know anybody in the industry that might need somebody? I'm willing to do A, B and C, here are my skill sets. It's constantly just keeping at it. And then you get in, you do get in.